Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Monday, October 12th, 2020. We are on the first day of the new trading week and the final hour of the trading day. The final hour of the trading day is my favorite time to make my buying and selling decisions for my swing trades. I say this because during the day you have the algorithms and you have the day traders. They are the ones that are in control of the price during the middle of the day. At the end of the day, the large financial institutions come in, they take control of the price, they take it away from the day traders and the algorithms. They're dealing with the most money, they have very smart people, they have the best information, they have the best technology, and they start making their buying and selling decisions at the end of the day. And because they are using so much size, that moves the market. You can see during the day you have kind of, in the middle of the day, you have a lot of sidewards motion and just kind of zipping around. And at the end of the day, a lot of times the market will find a final direction. That's the large financial institutions doing that. So thank you all for coming. It's great to see everyone. I really appreciate you being here. I feel very lucky and grateful that we have such a great group that we can spend some time together during the middle of the day and talk about bars going up and down and all the stuff that we do. But I hope the time that you're spending here is helping you in improving your trading and your investing. So big day today, wonderful day today. The Dow Jones is up 303 points. It's up 1.06%. The NASDAQ is the big winner of the day, up 341 points, up 2.95% today. Huge day. The S&P is up 66.37, up 1.91%. So we're having a great day. It's nice when these days come along. They don't happen often, but when they do, enjoy them. So here's the plan for today. First of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back, take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them moving forward. I did have one little day trade today that I will share with you on gold. And then we're going to go over to the board and we're going to see how everybody's doing with their positions. And I can tell just by glancing at these, they look really, really great. So that'll be fun to get to those and do a little show and tell. Lots of green on that board. After that, we're going to talk about trader psychology, get away from charts and indicators for a minute, technical analysis, and talk about what really matters. And what really matters is being able to formulate a plan and then stick with the plan. Formulating the plan is the technical side. Sticking with the plan is the psychological side. And you need both. And in my opinion, you can have a pretty mediocre trading approach, but as long as you follow it, I think you're going to do quite well. So, the skill that you need to develop, the real skill in this game is simply following your plan. It all boils down to that. So I want to talk a little bit about trading psychology and the way we think about trading, and hopefully it will help you, and hopefully it will help me by discussing it every day. After that, I have gone down through the watch list. I have taken a look at the results of Kamal's scanner. I do have 3 requirements whenever I'm looking to enter a new trade. The first requirement is I'm looking for a confluence or a combination of indicators lining up on multiple time frames, ideally. Secondly, I want to make sure I have a good risk to reward ratio. You can have a great confluence or combination of indicators lining up. However, just because you have that, you have to look at what the RSI is, where the ATR channels are, where strong resistance above you is compared to where your stop is below you, and you kind of have to do the math, and you have to think, okay, is this at least a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio? That's the minimum. 3-to-1, 4-to-1, that's even better, but minimum 2-to-1. So I need that. And then number 3, always take a few moments or a few minutes and think about how many positions you have, how much account heat you have. Do you really want to take on a lot more risk? How correlated are your positions? Are there some other positions that you might be able to get into that are outside of equity, such as bonds, gold, silver, oil? Ideally, in a perfect world, every single trade I would have would be completely uncorrelated. I mean, every position. And also, ideally, every single trade would have a different strategy. It would be a different setup. So Those are the three requirements. I'll go through. If anything looks good at the end of the day, I will go ahead and place the trade at the end of the day. After the market closes, if you have any questions for me, please let me know. If you need any clarification, please let me know. If there's any stock symbols that you would like to get my opinion on before the market closes, go ahead, put them in the chat, and please put an asterisk by it so I know it's time sensitive. And I'll do my best to get to it till the end of the day. And then finally, after the market closes, if you have any new positions today that you want me to put up onto the board, if you could wait till the market closes, then the pressure's off, the market's closed, I'm done trading, I'm done teaching, and then you can tell me about any new additions or subtractions that you have to your portfolio up on the board. Okay, so that's the plan. I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, and I'll be back in about 40 seconds. So hang tight. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, well, let's see who is here today. Excuse me, David is here. Hi, Greg and group. Hi, David. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Bob is here. Hello, everyone. Hey, Bob. Good to see you. Brian says, hey, Brian. Good to see you, my friend. Hey, everyone. Greg, I thought about you after hearing terrible news about coming outbreak in Utah killing mink animals. Terrible news about coming outbreak in Utah killing mink animals. I did not know that, but I'm sorry to hear that. Ugh, those poor little minks. So from an outbreak, huh? Well, dang. Not good news. Not good news. I didn't see anything on the news, but anyway, I hope you're doing well, Brian. Steve Burns is here. Hey, bud. Good to see you. Always an honor and privilege to have you here, sir. I really mean that. I'm always excited to see you every day, and I know everyone else is, to have the great Steve Burns here with us. So thank you for coming, and thanks for saying hi in the chat. Steve says, I made an all-time total trading account high today. Crazy moves on QLD and Amazon. Congratulations, Steve. I kind of figured that would be the case. That's unbelievable. I mean, it just goes to show you, everybody, Steve doesn't trade a lot. He's very patient. And then when he gets the signals, he takes them, he pounces, and he rides those babies as long as they goes up. We should all try to emulate Steve, and such a great example and mentor for us to follow. But congratulations, Steve. That is fantastic. In the foreword of the book, I said in there, I've seen Steve made all-time equity highs many times, even when the market wasn't even close to being at a new high, and here we are again. Just kind of proves my point, and just shows what a great trader Steve is. Thank you, Steve. Miko25 is here. Good afternoon, Greg and all. Hey, bud. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, sir. Dave said, me too. My best day so far this year. Good day for trading psychology because feels like cashing and running. Congrats, David. Very, very proud of you, my friend. Very, very proud of you. Frank is here. Hey, Frank. Hello, Greg and group, and congratulations to all. Thank you, Frank. You know, David, I knew you were going to be a great trader. You know, when we were doing our lessons, I just knew. He just has the right personality for it. He thinks clearly. Yeah, fantastic, David. Johan is here. Hey, bud. Good to see you. Speaking of another great student, there he is. Hope you're having a good day, my friend, or good evening. Evan is here. Good afternoon, Evan. Good to see you. Steve says, the VIX currently has a 10-30-day cross under, bullish for stocks if it holds. That is true. Let's take a look. Over here. Yes, there is the 1030, let's see, 2670, 2670. So they're exactly even at the moment, although exactly even from an ETF replay standpoint is considered a cross under, strangely enough. Kamal, hey Greg and gang, hey bud, good to see you. Thank you so much for our chat today, and thank you so much for the results of the scanner. All right, Frank has a poem for us. A chart says so much, but there's no guarantee. That's true. And that makes the right entry really the key. So buy low and sell high unless you can find the stocks with wings that can fly. Well, there are a few stocks with wings that are flying today, I have to say, and I'm grateful that I have a couple of those as well. Let's try that one more time. A chart says so much, but there's no guarantee, and that makes the right entry really the key. So buy low, sell high, unless you find a stock with wings that can fly. Perfect. Beautiful. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. Well, listen, as far as taking a look at some nice trades today, let's go ahead and do it. Kamal says, Steve, I like that all-time equity high indicator, especially measuring its periodicity. Good way to keep track of plan following the long term. Periodicity. I don't think I ever heard that word before. Okay. Dave says, wow, thanks, Greg. I can honestly say that it in a big part thanks to you. Oh, thank you, David. I really appreciate that. That's great to hear. That makes my day. It makes the teaching all worth it. It really does. All right, so Frank and Quad and Kamal and Gary and Johan and I, we did buy Facebook back on the 8th at 263.89 with this false breakout to the downside and the V2. The next day it did not participate. I was a little bummed out about that, but today it's participating bigly. It is currently up 5.11% today. I hit 1, 2, 3, 4 profit targets. And that is no little deal. Four profit targets is a big deal. I've hit more than that, but you rarely hit 4 profit targets. So this is a great trade. Fantastic trade. From entry to current price, about 5.1%. So here, 2 options here. I took this trade with the false breakout to the downside with the V2. Now we have the 520 crossover. If I wanted to, I could kind of morph over into a 520 crossover. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to stay with my original trade because it's up so much. It is above the 1.5 ATR channel, meaning that now if I get a close below the previous day's low, I will get out of half the position. We're at a 60.99 RSI. If we reject possibly the 3rd ATR channel or reject the 70 RSI, I will go ahead and get out of half and then wait for a close below the previous day's low. So if it goes up and rejects the 70, I'll get out with a close below the previous day's low. If we now get a close below the previous day's low, I will also get out of half. So anyway, congratulations to Frank, Quad, Kamal, Gary, Johan, and myself. Really, really nice trade. And wish we had these every day. Goldman Sachs. All right. So Steve and Zach and myself are in Goldman Sachs. I did buy Goldman Sachs back here at 199.94 with the 520 crossover. Steve bought it at 207 with the 1030 EMA and the 1050 EMA crossover, and Zach bought it the same signal at 207.83. I have hit 2 profit targets today. It is at a 66.42 RSI, getting close to that 3rd ATR channel. So this is a crossover trade for me. If we do reject the 70 RSI, I will sell half. If I then get a close below the previous day's low, I will sell half. We are so far extended above this 5-day moving average that, I'll also leave the possibility for me that if it doesn't quite get to the 70 RSI, but then closes back below the 5, I may use that just as my trailing stop as well. But up 3.17% today, which is really great. And this has been a big trade for me. I am up 6.62% on this with the little earlier buy back here, that confluence that we talked about with the 520 crossover and the V1. But congratulations, Steve, Zach, and myself. Coca-Cola, Gary, Frank, Johan, Yas, and myself. I knew I liked this trade. You remember this? We had a higher low, V2. We had triggered a fractal over here. Here's a high with two lower highs to the left, two lower highs to the right. We got in at 49.63 and it's taken off ever since then. I did hit one profit target here at 51.24. Didn't quite get to the second one, but this is a great trade and it is above my 1.5 ATR trailing stop point. So again, if I have a close below the previous day's low, I will get out of half. Currently up 3% on this trade. Oh, no, I take that back. I am going to get out of this trade today, by the way. Kind of hard to explain why, but we did reject the second ATR channel and we're right up here at resistance. I forgot about that. Yep. So I will be exiting this today and just locking in all profits. So just so Gary, Frank, Johan, and Yas are aware. I mean, it could go higher, no doubt about it. Could go higher, but I see some other trades today possibly that I'd like to allocate that capital towards, and we're well off the highs as well. So I will be closing out Coca-Cola. All right, Monster Energy. Dan and Brian. No, this isn't Monster. Here we go. Here's Monster. Gary, Johan, David, Yas, and Frank with the half position, and myself and Steve. We did buy Monster Energy with the 1050 EMA crossover. I bought it here at 80.97 with the 1050 EMA crossover. I did hit two profit targets, one at 82.04, one at 82.63. Just barely missed that third one by like 5 cents or something. I am up to the orange line, which means I've moved more than 1.5 ATRs for my entry. So now I go into trailing stop mode. If I get a close below the previous day's low, I will sell half position. So congratulations, Steve, Frank, Yas, David, Johan, Gary, and myself. SPY. All right, here we go. Like a broken record, I'm sure it sounds like it does to me, but in case we have some new viewers, I do buy the SPY every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take the overnight risk. I sell it first thing the next morning. I do this because of a long-term back-tested study from Liz Ann Saunders. She's at Bespoke Invest. She's the chief investment officer at Charles Schwab. Since 1993, they tested two approaches. First approach, buy the SPY at the open, hold it through the day, sell it at the close. Buy the open, sell the close every day. If you did this every day since 1993, you'd return a negative 13.9% return. So not very good for all that work. However, if you do the opposite, which is what I do, buy the SPY at the close, hold it overnight, take the overnight risk. That's where I feel the edge is. You get paid in this business to take risk and sell first thing the next morning. This gained a positive 634.2% return compared to the opposite way, negative 13.9%. Past performance, no guarantee of future results. Does not mean it's going to work ever a day in the future. But if I'm going to allocate money towards a trade, I'm rather going to pick a trade that has good back-tested results like this does. Blue line, buy the close, sell the next morning. Orange line, buy the morning, sell the same day close. Not even close. The results are massively different. Although, if you're considering using this approach, remember everybody, there are significant drawdowns and multi-year drawdowns. So it's not rainbows, butterflies, unicorns, and whatever, right? It's just like any trading approach. There's ups and downs, but long-term it does have an edge, and that's why I use it. So if you're going to use this, if you're considering using this, use a very small position size. I would suggest, nice conservative small position size to get started would be like 5% of your capital. So if you had $100,000, you would buy $5,000 worth at the close and then hopefully sell it for $5,100 the next morning, make $100. So that being said, I had a nice overnight SPY trade. I did buy it here on Friday at 346.85 and I sold it this morning at 349.55. So 346.85 up to 349.55. So nice, great overnight SPY trade. It is higher, but that's okay. The plan is buy the close, sell the open. But luckily, I have 2 trades on SPY, and here we go. I bought this along with Dan and Brian. I did buy the SPY when we had the 1050 EMA crossover at 333.82. It's been a beautiful trade, just up and up and up and up and up and up and up. I did hit 2 profit targets today, one at 349.97 and one at 352.62. So entry to current price on this is 5.63%. So this was fantastic. It was kind of good to do a double dip. I've had some nice overnight SPY trades, and I've had the nice 1050 EMA crossover trade. All right, lastly, Qs. I did buy the Qs back here on the 30th of September at 277.80 with the 520 cross. It went up my way, took a little profits, came down the next day, closed below by both the 5 and the 20. That's my signal to get out of half. But am I glad I kept half? 100% I'm glad I kept half, because this has just gone motoring up. So, you know, this was a warning sign, so I decided to be proactive, take some off, but I did hit 3 profit targets today, 290.70, 291.83, and 294.70. So from entry to exit, this trade is up 5.77%. Okay, I did close out my position on Apple today. My puts, as you know, I did sell puts down to 77.50, expiring November 20th. I did get 82% of my premium. You know, all I could get was another 18% left, and I had all the risks. So it's a good example of you know, risk to reward. I could hardly make any more, only 18% less, only 18%. I've made 82% of what I'm going to have. I'd rather allocate that capital towards a different put that had a little bit more meat on the bone. So I am out of Apple. Speaking of Apple, Quad, Frank, Gary, excellent trade. Frank has Apple here at 111. It is now 123.97. What is that? 12, almost 13 points. Fantastic, Frank. Proud of you. Quad, Gary, proud of you. They took the 520. What did they take? Yeah, it was the 520 crossover. They took the 520 crossover. That's right. Fantastic. And, you know, I managed an account for someone, and I did, with the 520 crossover, I did buy, oh, this was Frank over here. Okay. This was here. Yeah. And I did buy calls for an account that I managed as well, based upon the person's instructions. And so he's doing really great on just the straight calls that he has on Apple. So congratulations, Quad, Frank, and Gary. Okay, real quick, I did have one little day trade today to keep I did match my high of the year. I have had 10 trading days in a row, profitable on my intraday trades. If I can get a green day tomorrow, that will be an all-time best. I did buy gold back here with we closed below the -1 ATR channel. I bought gold here with this higher low V2 and false breakout to the downside. I bought it 180.53, moved up nicely, just kept moving up here. Had a close below the previous day's low and lost the 5-day moving average, so I decided just to take it. So I got in at 180.53 and I got out at 180.72. Doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, when you're trading intraday and you're trading with bigger sizes, it definitely adds up. So I'm very happy that I hit I've tied my all-time best record, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Okay. Steve says, gold has a 520 EMA crossover today. Yes, it does, and that is #1 on my list to take a look at. I knew you'd be looking at it as well, Steve, so we'll look at that. David says, wow, thanks, Greg. Oh, I can also say a big party. Sorry, I already read that. But thank you, David. Mount Doji, hello, everyone. Hey, Mount Doji, what's happening, buddy? Good to see you. Mount Doji was one of the first people that ever followed me like a couple years ago. So I always will appreciate that for Mount Doji. Hope you're doing well. Kamal says, Greg, where is your third ATR channel on Facebook? Looks like about 281.43-ish. 281.43 is about what I have, Kamal. Arthur, hey Arthur, how you doing? Does anyone know how to get the ATR levels on Thinkorswim? Yeah, Arthur, they're called Keltner channels on Thinkorswim. So if you go into your studies, look for Keltner channels. I put 6 Keltner channels. I put a first standard deviation, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and it will put 6 above you and 6 below you. So yeah, look on Arthur, look under the studies under Keltner channels, not ATR levels. Does that make sense? All right. Oh, what happened here? Kamal and Johan, what is happening here? This thing was up 14% today, and now it's down 0.67%. Holy smoke. So Kamal and Johan bought it about 23.81, somewhere in there, right here with this. They bought when the V2 triggered intraday. My gosh, at one point you guys were in the money almost 20% on this deal. I don't know if anybody took any profits up here. I imagine Johan took some profits up here. I don't know if Kamal did, but that's a horrible reversal. Still nicely up on the trade for both of you, but I was looking at that earlier, and I was so happy to see that. Darn it. Darn it, darn it. Well, shoot, down on the day, but still nicely up on the trade. Dexcom, we have Johan bought Dexcom at 393.10. Looks like with the V2 here, it's 395.26. Up 2.4%. So up on the day, up on the trace. Nice, Johan. Steve Burns and Yas bought the double leverage Qs here with the 1030 EMA crossover. Let's take a look. This baby is now up 9.9% on that trade. No wonder all-time highs. Congratulations, Steve Burns, and congratulations, Yas. Also, Steve Burns took the IWB 530 SMA crossover. You have to be careful. Some are 1030 SMAs, some are 1030 EMAs. This is a 530 SMA that backtests well. The crossover, the 5 crossing over the 30. Steve bought this at 191.18. It is now 197.83, up 3.36%. So congratulations, Steve. Walmart, Brian bought Walmart here at 140.69, I believe. It is now 144.42, so this is up nicely today, up 2.55% from entry. AQN, Glenn Mark, same guy, bought AQN at 15.29. It is now 15.59, so up 30 cents, down on the day, but nicely up on the trade. Okay, Steve and Glenn also bought Amazon. I think Glenn bought this back here at like 29.61. Steve bought this Friday with the 1030 EMA crossover. I was considering this. Obviously, I wish I would have, but that's the thing about having your rules. Sometimes they're going to work for you, sometimes they're going to work against you, but the problem is you never know when they are, and so you just have to stick to them. So that's why I had to pass on the trade. But I'm glad Steve bought the trade. He bought it here at 32.8302 with the 1030 crossover. And by the way, it was at the second ATR channel. That's the reason I didn't take the trade. Steve is up approximately 4.97%. Fantastic. Gary doing extremely well on his Google. He sold Google puts down to $1,200. It's at $1,575, so I imagine he's got close to 80% of his premium as well. He'll be able to keep the entire premium as long as it doesn't close below $1,200 by November 20th. Who knows, but it's looking pretty good. Frank bought LVGO back here at 132.50. It did go up, came down a little bit. He didn't like the action. He took half off, but I'm glad he took the other half because it has moved up nicely. It is up a little today, but nicely up on the trade. Chewy. Woohoo! Quad. Quad bought this sideways motion fractal breakout here at 58.92. It went down, consolidated, and up bigly today. Let's see, did that get above 70? No, 66.45. So up 7.88%. These are unbelievable moves. Brian bought CRM at 251.20. It is now 267.57, up nicely on the day and up 6.2% on the day, or on the trade. Alibaba, Johan had a beautiful buy here with the 520 cross at 276.70. Moved up beautifully Friday. He took a little safety. He took half off with that rejection of the third ATR channel. But I'm sure he's glad he has another half today because it is up another 2.74%. This is a monster. Johan is up 10.07% on this trade. Intel, Gary also selling puts down to $45. It is now $53.97. So as long as it stays above $45 by November 20th, he'll be able to keep all the profits. I imagine he has a good 60, 70, 80% of his premium already in there. And I think lastly we have Exxon. Gary bought calls November 20th, $35 calls. It's at 34.64, so he's down a little bit. It's out of the money, but he does have till November 20th. And we had this big move up. I'm not surprised by this move down, but hopefully we'll get another leg up and get him in the money on that. And then lastly, CNK. Oh, yes. CNK. Kamal and Johan bought Cinemark. They bought it at 878, under 30, over 30 with the V2. Did go down. They barely stayed in. It got real close to their stop, but they held it. Nice move again today with the V1 under 30, over 30. So slightly down on the trade, not much, but it is up 2.61%. Let me take a look and see how things are doing here. Okay, Facebook is off of its highs, but still up 4.72. Goldman Sachs, oh, daddy, 215.10 is my third profit target. So we are getting pretty close. But remember, we're at 66.97 RSI. And we're at the third ATR channel. That's a lot of convergences of resistance right there. But with any luck, hit that profit target there today. Who knows? But cross my fingers. Coca-Cola, one profit target. Am getting out of that today. Monster is doing fine. I'll be keeping that. SPY, of course, I'll be buying the SPY trade at the close, selling it first thing the next morning. My Q trade's doing great. 3 profit targets. I'm out of Apple. But glad to see for Quad, Frank, Gary, and my friends whose account I manage. Okay. David says, in Street Smarts, the Keltner channel asks for period and then also ATR period. Can you remind me what you use for each? I use a 20 period, David. Of course, the factor is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in Street Smarts, see, it's different than what I use here in Trade Navigator. In Trade Navigator, let me see, how are we doing on time? Let me take a look here. So if I go here to Keltner channel, see, I have 2 inputs. Factor, that's the second standard deviation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I have bars used in average, which is, looks like 21. Although actually that should be 20. I think I'm using a different chart. But so bars used in average 20, factors 1 through 6, and then I know in Street Smart there's one more in there, and I'm not sure. After the market closes, Dave, I'll take a look at my Street Smarts and see, because I don't use that. Yes, says, thanks, Steve, for bringing my attention to QLD. Thanks, Greg. I wish I had more. Hey, we always wish we had more when it goes up. Just be glad you have some, right? Let's be happy about what we have. Okay, so listen, before we start going down through the results today, before we go through the results of the output of the scanner today, I do want to shift gears real quick, get away from technicals for a minute, get away from charts, and talk about the mind, talk about the real skill of trading, the skill that you have to manage more so, or master more so than any skill in trading, is managing your emotions. And one of the best people out there that talks about this is Stephen Goldstein at Alpha Mind 101. Stephen Goldstein is a retired professional trader. He is a world famous trading coach. He coaches hedge funds, large financial institutions, prop firms, large individual traders. He just coaches them on psychology. So whenever he has something that he posts, I always take a look at it, read it, and try to internalize it. Let's see what Steve had. The behaviors, practices, and philosophies that lead to success in business and education don't translate well to the world of trading, whereas those from the worlds of poker and other games of probability do. Unfortunately, our education and experience usually comes from the former, and the former is practices and philosophies that lead to success in business and education. And I would also add sports in there, do not translate well to the world of trading, because in business, there's this kind of this mantra in sports, in education, in business, education, and sports. It's work really hard, deal with the pain, fight through the pain, right? Those are kind of the mantra. Work hard, feel the pain, go through it. That's why when people transition from business and sports and education into trading, they bring that with them. Well, I can gut out this losing trade. I can gut it out. I've done it in business. I've done it all my life. See, that's why they don't translate well to the world of trading. Whereas those from the world of poker and other games of probability do, because, in games of probability, like poker, the skill there is just laying down your hand when you don't have a good hand. It's being patient, waiting for a good starting hand, folding your hand, even if if you're pot committed, have a lot of money in the pot, because you know the probabilities. There are a lot of good traders that come from poker, a lot of good options traders that come from poker. I've played poker majority of my life, right? And I think that's, I don't know if I became a good poker player because of trading or vice versa, but if you've come from the business world, if you're a competitive type A personality and you've worked hard and you've gone through the pain, that's great, but don't bring that mindset into trading, because in trading, you want to get out quickly when you're wrong, right? You don't want to endure pain when you're wrong. So unfortunately, our education experience comes from the former. The former is the practices, philosophies, the business, education, and sports. But try to leave those behind in your former career. And once you enter the trading world, you don't want to endure pain. Endure pain is not good for anyone. So anyway, it's Stephen Goldstein at Alpha Mind 101. He has a great podcast called the Alpha Mind Podcast. He interviews traders from all over the world, all different levels, from large financial solution traders to small retail traders. He's interviewed me twice on his podcast, and I really appreciate that. So great guy, great information. Stephen Goldstein at Alpha Mind 101. Thanks, Stephen. Okay. Steve Burns says Goldman Sachs is heading into triple previous resistance at the 67. Yep, that's what I was just talking about. We have third ATR channel, we have the 70 RSI, and we have the previous resistance over here. So the trifecta of resistance here. I think I'm going to hold it one more day. Of course, I have been scaling out, so my position size is not as large, so I feel like I can get a little bit more room to breathe. But I am selling Coca-Cola today. 100% I am selling Coca-Cola. This was a great trade, but similar to Goldman Sachs, it rejected the previous resistance over here. How high did it get RSI-wise? About 65. But anyway, I am going to let Coca-Cola go. Monster's fine, SPY, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, on deck for today, as Steve mentioned before, we do have a 520 crossover on gold. It's in a nice area in the value zone. MACD is also positive. I will definitely be buying position today in gold. And just real quick, I take my maximum allowed loss, whatever that is, usually, 1%, 0.5% of my total capital. I take 0.5% or 1% of that number. I divide the 2 ATR, which is 452, into that number. That gives me the amount of shares that I'm going to buy, so that if I hit my emergency stop, I know exactly how much I'm going to lose. And in addition, using the 2 ATR factors in the volatility, which is also a good thing. So I will be buying gold today at the close with the 520 cross. All right. Lockheed Martin. So Lockheed Martin is kind of interesting here for a couple reasons. The 520 crossover, which does backtest well, not great, but it does backtest well. We have a MACD crossover. We have a higher low V1. Here's day one. Here's day two. Day two washes out day one, closes above day one's close. We also had this big bar 3 days ago. We came down, we held halfway, we held the 50% Fibonacci number there, and we also have a green triangle. Remember the green triangles? We have a high. We make a higher high that reverses down, or in other words, we have a V1 to the downside on Friday, which is a bad sign. But if you get a bad sign followed right up again with a good sign, that's a good sign. So higher low V1, reversal of this fake out bar, 520 crossover, MACD is crossing over. Let's look over at the weekly. Weekly's good. Sideways motion, remember, sideways motion in my opinion is the best. Sideways motion goes sideways, but then sideways motion usually moves up strongly or down strongly. If it moves down strongly, I want to get out quickly. If it moves up strongly, I want to be patient and ride that out. So looks like I will be buying Lockheed Martin today as well. And there is a bit of a spread on Lockheed Martin. Just want to point that out. It's not like a penny or two. I think, let me check and see what it is here right now. It's 20 cents. So 26 cents. So as we get closer to the end of the day, I will put an order in at the bid and see if I can get filled. But I'm not going to just hit the market button on this and have be underwater 25. Now it's 33 cents. So to be determined whether or not I'm going to get filled on this. If I can get filled at the bid, I'll go ahead and take it. But I'm not, at the end of the day, I'm not going to chase a large spread. So keep that in mind. So it's to be determined whether or not I will actually get filled on Lockheed Martin. Gold, of course, has good, easy terms. it has a penny spread. Yelp was looking better earlier. It had a higher low V2, but it is untriggered now. So that one goes over in the disregard. Oh no, that was my Lockheed Martin. What am I doing? Maybe that was a Freudian move over there. Yelp is the one that had the untriggered the V2. So that one, no bueno. Tyson Foods has a false breakout to the downside and a V1 and a technical bullish engulfing bar. 1.28 million shares traded. Let's look at the weekly. V1 on the weekly. MACD's getting close to crossing. We're back in the value zone. I'm a little torn on this one. This could really be a good trade, but I think... Do you hear me struggle there? if you have to struggle about something, if you're not quite feeling it and you're actually struggling about it, then that's the sign probably just not to take it. I didn't have that at all with gold, right? Because here I'm torn. There's some good things. Okay, I'm just going to go with my first instinct there and say no. AMC Networks, oh, that's pretty good. Although we did make a lower high here, and we have not washed out this low. This is a nice V2. MACD looks like it's crossing over. We have a 520 crossover. I was not able to back test this. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly's pretty strong. I mean, strong in the sense that it's moving sideways. $854,000 shares traded. Darn, it's pretty strong, but me personally, I think I'm going to let that one go, although technically there's nothing wrong with it. Here's Chevron, a higher low V1. Let me point out though, you know, when I was taught higher low V1s by Kerry Lavorne, the one thing that he was concerned about is when you have a higher V1 that happens after only one down day. Like, it's still valid, but he would rather see the move up and then a couple days down and then the V1, because, you know, selling usually goes in couple day cycles. So he'd like to have 1 day, 2 days worth of selling to kind of get rid of that, the supply, the selling supply. So therefore, I am not going to take this. See how we have a higher low V1, but it was up, and just 1 day down and then the reversal. So that's, for that reason alone, I'm going to let that go. But it is a V1. It's just not as good as if you have a couple, a higher low V1. It's just not as good as you have a couple days down. NTNX. Yeah, I don't. Triggered a fractal on Friday. Yeah, that one just doesn't grab me. TripAdvisor has a 520 crossover. I tried to back test it. I couldn't. I don't know, Kamal, if you've been able to back test that. So if you have, maybe you could let me know. CNK is Cinemark, which Kamal and Johan already have. Again, it has tested the 30 RSI again, closed back over intraday. It has a V1 that happened after the same, under 30, over 30 V2. Now we have an under 30, over 30 V1. I'm just scared of $8 stocks. Hey, speaking of, what's our stock? Cody. What is Cody doing today? Oh, Cody's down. Okay, so good job everybody on the exiting of Cody while the getting was good. And then lastly, Dish. You know, if this had a double bottom with the bullish divergence, I would be more interested. But here we have a low, we go up, we have no green, so this is not a double bottom with the bullish divergence. Did this go under 70 over? I'm sorry, under 30 over 30? Yeah, it did. It went under 30 over 30. And it is a false breakout to the downside from here. Let's take a look at the weekly. Nothing much on the week that I see. Let me see over here. Quad is here. Hey, buddy, good to see you. Nice trades today. I went over your trades. Beautiful. Steve says, I'm long UGL, so that's Steve's buying gold, double leverage gold at 71.24 based upon the 520 crossover, which is the one I'm going to take. Arthur said TTWO 520 crossover and a nice wedge. Yep. Now, I haven't back tested the 520 on TTWO, so I don't know if that back tests well. So if it backtests well, it's a reason to take it. I don't like that it's rejected the 50-day moving average per se. Steve exited Goldman Sachs. Okay, that makes sense for the reasons that we discussed. Nick says wing 135 calls for 1016. Okay, I'll get to those after the market closes. Nick says banger. These were $2 this morning. Wing bashing. Good lotto here. Kamal says trip 520 crossovers terrible. Thank you, Kamal. Okay, so that answers my question on trip. So trip comes off because it doesn't backtest well. So gold is for sure with the 520 crossover. Lockheed Martin, again, let me see what that spread is. It's 25 cents. So I may have to just pass on that one. Coca-Cola. So let me go ahead and get rid of Coca-Cola right now. Okay, so I'm out of Coca-Cola. I'm keeping Goldman Sachs for one more day. Oh, Facebook has really come off a bit, hasn't it? Off of its high. Okay, gold I'm buying for sure. LMT, let me take a look intraday, see how this, oh, big bar there at the end. Let's take a look at that wing stock. Yeah, I like the sideways motion. I like the V1 here. And it wasn't quite a double bottom with the bullish divergence, but pretty close. See how deep this low was? See how deep these bars are here? Then we have the rally up to green. Now we've come back down very close, not quite a double bottom with hardly any. That means the momentum of this move down here was not even close to the momentum of this move here. And yeah, it's a decent trigger. I'm not going to take the trade, but that would be a decent trigger with the rejection of the -1 ATR channel and a V1. All right, I am going to try to buy Lockheed Martin here and see what happens. But I'm going to try to get it at the bid. I've traded this one many times, and I think the good advice here is just leave it if you can't get a good price. All right, I'm going to put my buy-in at 388.26 and see what happens. Now it ran away from me. All right, I have an order in. I don't know if I'm going to get filled, and I'm going to put GLD in here. Hey, I got it. Sweet. Good thing I didn't get impatient, hit the market. I would have paid 20 cents more for it. All right, let's see what gold's doing here. Intraday. All right, I'll just wait that one out a little bit. Kamal said TTWO does backtest well. for the 520 crossover. So Arthur, keep that in mind. Kamal just tested it. TTWO does backtest well with the 520 crossover. And Steve said Spotify is trying to achieve a 520 crossover today. All right. I have to, I get talking and then sometimes I lose track of time. So I have to Spotify 10:30. Oh, that's a 10:30 deal. Oh, EMA. It is trying. It is above right now, as is. 247.81, 247.80. So it is a crossover. Thank you, Kamal. Kamal says, you're welcome. Frank says, glad you found a stock with wings. Now let's see if it can fly. That's right, baby. Wow, big day today, everybody. All right. I'm going to just wait for gold, see if I can get a little better price at the end of the day. Hey, Lockheed Martin's in the money already. That's because of that good bid purchase, though. That's why. All right, I'm going to buy gold right now. I'm going to buy gold over here as well. Whew. Okay. Okie dokie. That was it. What a day. Beautiful, unbelievable day. Fantastic. I think everybody else did well also, so I'm very happy for that. So, okay, so, well, let's take a look. Where did I get filled on all these wonderful things? All right, Mr. Spy, I got filled at 352.43. Gold, I got filled at 180.57, and Lockheed Martin at 388.26. So I'm going to move Apple out of here because I'm out of Apple. I am also out of Coca-Cola, so I'm moving Coca-Cola over here. SPY, my new overnight SPY trade, I got filled at 352.43. You know, I pointed this out the other day, everybody, but look at all these gaps. Here's a gap, here's a gap, here's a gap, here's a gap. It's unusual when you have this many gaps in a row without some backfilling. So keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind. You know, you hear and you listen to people like Sven Hendricks, and you know that's a big thing for them, is the gap after gap after gap after gap. And if you read Market Wizards, I can't remember who it was, but one of their favorite approach was buying after there were many large gaps to the downside, and I believe many shorting after large gap ups to the upside. So this is a little concerning. But anyway, my overnight SPY plan calls for me to just, keep doing this. And so I will, and I will sell it first thing tomorrow morning. So I got it at 352.83. Gold, 520 cross. Got filled at 180.57. And then Lockheed Martin. Boy, I have not traded this one for a while. Lockheed Martin, I bought at 388.26. So I'm pretty good in the money on that one so far. Let me make a little room here. Boom. 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 Okay, so listen, if you have any new additions or subtractions, if you could remind me in the chat right now, I will get them all taken care of. But real quick, before I do, I just want to remind everybody that I do offer private coaching and teaching in the evening time via Skype. I love to teach. I think I have a really good course. The course is 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours. It's a total of 15 hours, one-on-one. I think it's the very long form one-on-one. I think it's the very best way to learn. It's the very best way to have a podcast like Joe Rogan, right? The long form. But to learn, I think it's very important. And, I have studied one-on-one with some, very famous, great, capable traders and authors, Steve Burns, Larry Williams, Kerry Lavorne, Dr. Alexander Elder, and the course that I teach, I combine all the strategies I've learned from these 4 gentlemen, and that's what I teach. And the key about the one-on-one and the long form is I teach, you repeat back, I ask you questions, and then we just do tons and tons and tons of chart study. And that's the key, repetition and patience, repetition and patience. So anyway, if you're interested in doing this course with me, please let me know. You can send me an email. Email's in the description of this video. You can also send me a message on Twitter. And if you do reach out to me, I'll reply and say, hey, thanks for saying hi. Let's set up a Skype call. The Skype call is free. There's no obligation. I will never ask you if it's not a sales call. I promise you that. I just want to get to know you a little bit better, get an understanding of what's going on with your trading, what your goals are, challenges, and then it's a good time for you to ask me about the course. And then when we're done, I'll say, hey, nice talking to you. Think it over. And if you want to take the course, then do. It's $1,000, but I think it's well worth the money. I think it's worth a lot more than that. I honestly do, for the attention that you get. And so reach out to me. We'll have that Skype call, and maybe we'll do the lesson together. And I know when you're done, you will be a better trader. I promise you that. And I am actually, at the beginning of the year, I'm going to start offering another little service, moving some things around a little bit. I've been putting a lot of thought into it. So I have been creating some documents, some PowerPoints, and some things like that. But as we get closer to the end of the year, I'll fill you in on that. So, and then if you like today's podcast, I really, really would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It helps grow the channel, helps keep the channel around, helps YouTube know that there's some value here. And like I said, keep breathing life into the channel so we can stay around. So if you have, half a second before you get out of here, I would really appreciate that. Okay, so that's all I ask there. Okay, let's start up here with Steve. Oh no, but yeah, okay. UGL, That's double leverage gold. Okay, so Steve bought double leverage gold at 71.24. I'm going to put here, Steve, based on GLD 520 cross. All right, got you there, Steve. Oh, Johan, sorry, buddy. I didn't see CMCSA. I didn't see that. Well, it has a 520 crossover. I don't know how that back tests, though. Sorry, I didn't see that earlier. Okay, Steve exited Goldman Sachs. All right, so we'll take Steve off of Goldman Sachs. Nice trade. But again, what Steve saw here was he saw, a triple resistance. He saw the third ATR channel. He saw the very close to the 70 RSI, and he saw this previous high over here. So really nice trade there, Steve. Okay, but I did take you off of that, Steve. Okay, Kamal's out of workhorse. Dang, man. That was just rude, Kamal. That was up so nice today. I was so glad for you and Johan. I didn't really notice it coming back down. Dang it. Sold 1/3 of Facebook. Oh, that's right. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you sold a little. I mean, I'm a big proponent of selling into strength. Oh, and you bought Wing. All right. Yeah, I can see that. Double bottom, bullish divergence, V1, rejection. Yep. Okay. Got you there. Frank says stopped out of Facebook. Okay. Okay. Nice trade, Frank. I mean, you stopped out, your trailing stop, but you have made money on the trade, I'm sure. Stopped out of Monster. Okay. Stopped out of Coke. All right. Okay. Frank says IAU at the close. So I still... What is IAU? Oh, that's right. That's gold. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. That's the other gold gold ETF. Okay, so I am still in Facebook along with Quad. Kamal sold a third, Gary and Johan. Goldman Sachs, I am in there still with Zach. Gold, I entered right here. Monster, I'm still in Monster. SPY, have the overnight SPY trade. Qs, 3 profit targets. And then the new one, the other new one in addition to gold was Lockheed Martin that I got at 388.26. So Coca-Cola, I still have Gary, Johan, and Yas. UGL, I have Steve. Apple, I have Quad, Frank, and Gary. Workhorse, I still have Johan here. QLD, I have Yas and Steve. Wing, I have Kamal. Okay, Zach is out of Goldman Sachs. Oh, that just leaves me. All right. Okay, so Wing has Kamal. AQN is Glenn Mark. Amazon is Steve and Glenn. Google is Gary. LVGO is Frank. Chewy is Quad. Whoa, what a trade. That's beautiful. CRM. Oh, I guess I don't have anybody in CRM. Baba, that's Johan, right? Yeah, he sold half. Intel is Gary. Exxon's Gary. CNK is Kamal and Johan. Glad to see those came back for you too. Steve is in that nice trade on IWB. Dexcom, Johan, Walmart, Brian, and Frank in IAU. Okay, I think I got those. Kamal says Workhorse has a one-time event tomorrow for some upside United States Postal Service contract. Okay. Kamal says any constructive criticisms on Workhorse? Well, I think the entry was good. V2, fractal, not above the 1 ATR channel. I mean, my only constructive criticism, Kamal, and you know what I'm going to say is I definitely would have hit at least probably three profit targets on this. And I don't know if Johan did hit profit targets, but and again, I'm backseat driving. Everything's, 2020, everything perfect hindsight. But I mean, if I'd been trading this, I definitely would have hit a minimum of 2 profit targets, at least 3. But as far as constructive criticism, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting out of this. This is a very bearish bar. It rejected this previous high. It's a V1 to the downside. The bar is larger than 1 ATR. No, I think that was a prudent move to get out. It doesn't mean it won't go up tomorrow, but I think it was a prudent move to get out. And it was a good entry to get in. The only criticism I have would be not taking any profits. But that's 2020 hindsight, right? Oh, Brian. I just had CRM, and then I looked on there, and I didn't see a name. So I thought I must have taken somebody off. I got you back on, Bri. Right there. In the entries and everything. I must have just accidentally erased your name. Sometimes on my end, hitting buttons and stuff, sometimes it erases it. But no, I got you here, Bri. 251.20, right? on CRM? Got you back on. All right, what's happening in the wide world of after hours? Apple's up 28 cents. Gold is down 2 cents. Goldman Sachs is up 38 cents. Qs are up 39 cents. SPY's up 77 cents. Nice. That's a good start. What's old Lockheed Martin doing? Boo, down 45 cents. But that doesn't mean much because the spread now is $5.50. Wing criticisms. Come on, you know I don't like criticizing people. Okay, but because you're my buddy, I'm going to do this. I mean, I'll do this for anybody. I don't see anything wrong with this trade. I mean, it's not technically a double bottom with the bullish divergence. I mean, it's very, very close. But here's the low. We didn't quite get down to the low. Although, you know, studying with Dr. Elder, I've seen him do this as well. You know, I mean, you have to look at it in the spirit of, yes, big move down, lots and lots of strong momentum. Did we rally, go green? Yes, we did. Did we come back down, get pretty dang close to the low? Maybe not this one outlier, but these other ones here, yes. It's a V1. It rejected the -1 ATR channel. I have no issue with this trade. I really have no issue with this trade at all. It would have been nice if it would have got over the 5-day. It did reject the 5-day. That's one thing. But remember, these lower low trades, these are not, it's the bottom and it's going up to a new top. This will probably rally up to here. And then people like Kamal and other people that bought it down here will probably take profits if it starts to get weak. If it starts to get weak, it'll move it back down. But then if you get another group of buyers that come in here, make a higher low move can have a nice leg up, where a lower low move is usually just a bounce. So keep that in mind. Let me look at that real quick, Dave. Okay, Dave, on mine, the period is 20. The ATR period is 20. And the ATR factor is, of course, your 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. So I'm just looking here right now. The period is 20. The ATR period is 20. And the ATR factor is 1. And then, of course, you get it'd be 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. Does that make sense, Dave? That's what I have on mine. I can't tell you if that's exactly the perfect way, but again, with these Keltner channels and everything, use what you have. There's not one magic number, but those are the inputs, 2021 and then 2020 all the way up to 6. Did you hear that, Dave? Did you get that? Oh yeah, okay. Brian says, no problem, lots of good positions to keep up. By the way, big Disney news, I think it's about to pop. Oh, what did Disney do today? Down a penny. Well, here we come from a lower low. We're back in the value zone. I would look for a higher low V1 or V2 on Disney or a crossover, although I'm not sure right off the top of my head what a good backtested crossover is for Disney. All right, SPY's up 79 cents. That's an excellent start. Although we all know things can be different by tomorrow morning. So gold's up a penny. Goldman Sachs is now up 56 cents. Lockheed Martin. SPY's up 83 cents now. So that's all good. $124.52. Bob says Disney up 5% after hours. Wow. How did you guys know? How did you guys know that? Frank says, it's my understanding that Disney no longer reports, you know what cases. It's my understanding that Disney no longer reports, you know what cases. Oh, I know. Gotcha. 10-4. Roger that. All right, everybody. Listen, great day today. Congratulations to all of us. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Go out and try to do something nice for somebody today. Just a smile or a wave, or just do them a favor or give them a hand. And in addition to that, if you could also go out and try to do something nice for an animal today, just take them on a walk, give them a little scrubby or a little lovey or a pat on the head or a scratch under the chin, or give them a treat, or have a little conversation with them, or just be kind to them. They would appreciate that. Every human's going to appreciate that, and every animal's going to appreciate that. So if we could do that every day, it would make the world a whole lot better place. So again, if you could hit the thumbs up button before you get out of here, I would really appreciate that. And enjoy your day after a nice big green day in the market. So take care, everyone, and hope to see you tomorrow. Bye now.
U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation, and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor, or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.